to BS3 Network.
Bring back that beat, DJ.
Microphone master. All right, we ready to go.
He was late. I don't know the audience, man. They just didn't like that bring back beat, DJ.
Fuck him.
Like Martin.
Back him. Back him, man.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Right. All right, welcome to the Fourcast. It is the 3cast right now. We will have Wilkes should be coming on here shortly. Glad to be back. We were not on last week, but we are back better than ever, reviewing Freaknik, the wildest party never told, which is on Hulu. And I put in the description, hey, let us know if you was on it, because there was a lot of people in that area. And they didn't black out a lot of faces either. So it was pretty much, if you was in this, you was in this.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit of, we'll go a little bit of, how's everybody doing? We've been off for a week. So HRap, how you feeling?
You know me, man. No bad.
I got to ask for the people.
You know, no bad days, just bad moments. You know me.
Yeah. Dawk, how you doing? Had a week off?
You know we got the BS3 drip in the bill. You didn't show them last week. You got the BS3 drip in the bill. You know what it is.
I got mine.
Yeah, we good, man. You know, we blessed even when it don't look like it. You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Even when it don't look like it, we blessed. I promise you that.
Hey, complaining is not worth it. It don't help you. It don't help anybody around you. So.
And if you really look at it, there ain't nothing to complain about. If you really took a hard look, when the last time you looked in your closet and saw how many clothes you got you don't even wear?
Yeah.
When the last time you done threw over some leftovers? When the last time you done had some leftovers every week? You understand? So when you take a close look, we ain't got nothing to complain about, man.
Yeah.
What is that? We go 30 today, but I got some complaints.
All right, so this is out on Hulu. It's been out for a couple of weeks, so if you have not seen it,
Pastor Dot.
What's up, Pastor Dot? Nah, we ain't no pimps over here. Everybody married, but HRap.
Hey, this second week in a row, man. Y'all just swung on me with them. Hey,
I'm just talking to, eligible bachelor right here. All right, let's bring in Mayhem, Wilkes.
Hey.
I can hear you.
How's it going? Y'all can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good.
Is it working?
Good.
Hold on, just in case. I don't want no dumb shit.
Nah, you good.
You good. We can hear you clear.
All right, making sure.
You look extra bright tonight, though. But you know,
this big ass screen. It's like I can't tone it. I might need to fix the brightness on it. It's like, oof, like what?
But nah, you good. We just how was your week off?
You know, Redbone's back in style right now. So you good.
Especially since Freaknik. A lot of yellow folks in Freaknik. You're like, yo,
that's when the Redbone died, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of them in there.
No, there was a
it was good. Let me fix this tone. I feel really bright. I feel like a field nigga on this thing. Now, if I'm bright, I'm the house nigga, so I gotta fix it.
Right. Other way around.
Sorry, my bad.
All right, I'll give us a description. It's pretty easy. It's self-explanatory.
Well, it's the story of the wildest party never told before until now. What started as an idea for a college spring break picnic in 1982 quickly turned into the largest gathering celebration of Black culture uh, that Atlanta or the entire country had ever seen. Freaknik was during a time before cell phones, social media, and the internet, but that doesn't mean the documentation doesn't exist. Join legendary rappers and artists, including Killer Mike, 21 Savage, 21. Lil Jon,
21.
Jermaine Dupri, Too Short, Uncle Luke, CeeLo Green, Jalen Rose, Frank Williams, and more as they relive and recount the rise and fall of the most iconic Black party of all time through archived footage and personal stories in the Hulu original documentary, Freaknik, The Wildest Party Never Told. Back to you.
Great read. So initial thoughts. I'll say first off, I went to Morehouse, and that was the year after the whole thing was shut down, which was 99 when it was shut down. I got there in 2000, so I didn't have any bits part of it, but I was interested to hear the backstory. I think that was more so what I wanted to know, and the backstory was a lot deeper than I think a lot of us probably thought, because I just thought it started in 96 and it was Luke and that from the beginning. So we'll get into that. But let's go to Dawk.
So you're back in high school. Again, my fiance and I watched it together, and she was looking really, really close to make sure she didn't see your boy. I said, I ain't had that kind of money back then. I couldn't have went.
Back then they didn't want me, and now I'm out. They all
I couldn't have went if I wanted to. But really, at the time, man, this was hot. Believe it or not, man, I was already early in an early marriage. Had shoot, how many of my kids? 3 of my kids were born, by October of 93. So, it wasn't no nigga. I was trying to survive. Hell, I ain't care Freaknik. Shit, I'm trying to work, Nick. Hell, I'm trying to get these bills, Nick. I'm trying to eat, Nick. I wasn't concerned about that. So
only Nick he had was Nickelodeon. So he nigga
So I'd already heard. I mean, I obviously, had heard about the deal, but it wasn't really on my radar like that. I mean, I was well aware of it, but I didn't know what it was necessarily. Like, okay, so y'all know what swap meets, y'all. We all didn't heard of those, right?
Yeah.
I heard of Freaknik. I damn near thought it was a swap meet. I didn't know what it was. It's another kind of swap meet, and they was swapping meat.
They were swapping all right.
There's a lot of meat swapping. A lot of meat sweats going on too.
Atlanta had the meats. Yeah.
HRap, initial thoughts.
Believe it or not, man, what we saw was mild. It was, and contrary, like what Doc said, he didn't have the money to do it. You didn't really need money. This was before the opulence era. Puff Daddy bought in, I need a lot of money. This was the broke dude's paradise, man. This was you could be a regular guy and kick it. I mean, it was nothing for like you saw in the documentary, like 8 or 9 dudes get in the van and the kick starts, man. It was a wonderful time. Like, as I told you off air, this era made me tell my son who's 30 years old, I said, dude, you're about to turn 19. Between now and the time you're 30, make sure you remember every day of it. And I remembered every day of my 20s. And like I just told y'all, my son just landed not long ago, Puerto Rico. And it was a wonderful time, man.
You got no kids, you got no attachments. Dude was in a Winnebago, 4 of them in there, sleeping on the floor. They didn't have no rooms. I mean, it was just like you had to get there. It wasn't even I need somewhere to you was gonna find somewhere to stay when you got there, basically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wilkes.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely like I didn't hear about it till maybe 96, but I didn't know it was even going on that long. I mean, I didn't know. Of course, then Kappa Beach Party doesn't even hold a candle to Freaknik, but yeah, that's when I started really kind of hearing about Freaknik was the place to be and the party to get to, but hell, I couldn't get there. I was in high school. Shit, I wouldn't. There wasn't nobody heading to Atlanta that I knew. But I didn't. This was new for me as far as like even the origin, the beginning of it, because I didn't know. Yeah. I was kind of like, oh, maybe this just kind of started in like '94, but I guess it started in the '80s and maybe a little, yeah. So it was just one of those things.
'83,
right? Yeah. See, '83. Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I was one. So
yeah. So I did, yeah. So that's why I was saying, like, I'm leaning on Dawk if he would, kind of knew more about it, or even HRap, because this was all new to me. I didn't know much about it. So yeah, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was good. I do remember it they were trying to bring it back, and then of course they did bring it back, but it's just not the same. But
yeah,
I heard that they were trying to continue that, but
yeah, they bought the rights of it, but it wasn't the same. It was more of like I guess a Coachella than it really was. Like it was more.
I even remember when they showed T-Pain's little cartoon. I remember that happening, and that's when I was like, "Damn, Freaknik cartoon," But it's kind of went there. That was it.
So until somebody mentioned Coachella, so then we know what South by Southwest is, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
The difference between South by Southwest and what Freaknik was, it seems like South by Southwest has a lot more bands and
right. It was more music centered.
It almost like technology driven, business driven, like startup businesses and startup companies. That's what I kind of felt like Southwest. South.
Now Freaknik did have music, with obviously Outkast and Jermaine behind the scenes and crisscrossing them all, So I guess there was a little element of it. So Freaknik at the end of the day probably was, again, there's no one event since then, whether it be Coachella, whether it be South by Southwest, whether it be Kappa Beach Party, none of them will quite add up to what Freaknik was overall.
Right.
Yeah, Beach Party's in Corpus Christi, right?
They had beach parties there. The spring break is big, but the Kappa Beach Party was Galveston. I know
it was in Texas. Fools was talking about that back in the day too.
Based on that alone, it can't be all that then. Shit.
See, that's the thing, man. Back then, we didn't have social media.
But didn't they do a documentary on that one too? I thought they did a documentary on that one too, because people were like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna be on the video." Like people were like, "Oh shit," But I don't know.
Part, man. No social media, no nothing. Right. It was just word of mouth. It was countrywide. It was like, I remember at the very beginning, they showed that girl from Milwaukee, and I was like, "Yep." I mean,
it was straight video camera on the shoulder.
We
got the JVC.
So without social media, it just couldn't grow as fast, right? Yeah. So it had to go year to year.
It was definitely word of mouth. Yeah.
Let's let me get to the chat real quick before we go on. We already said what's up, Pastor Dodd. We got Biggie Chief. Thank you for tuning in. April Showers. Thank you for tuning in. She said, "Thank goodness I wasn't on film." Yeah. If we would have seen you, we would have had to call you out. Golden, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the support. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Twitter. We're also live on Roku TV, BS3 TV on Roku. So check us out there. And on the End of the Bench, Facebook and YouTube. So you got multiple places to watch. If you miss it live, like HRap always said, the great thing is it's a podcast. You can watch it whenever you want, at any point in time. So
over and over again.
Appreciate the support.
Watch it twice.
Yeah, right.
The thing is, as big as social media is, then what they didn't cover, and I wish they would have, and it wouldn't have had anything to do with Freaknik. This is when hip hop started to take over the world. So to go down there, I mean, cats, when I was 16, cats was like, "Man, when we get grown, we going." And you go down there. Last time I was down there and kicking it, I'm standing down the side. You remember the Velvet Lounge, Ben? The Velvet Lounge on Peachtree. I'm down there in Bunkhead, and I'm standing there, and Big Gip is standing next to me, and we just kicking it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And they were outcasts at the time. It wasn't like he was just another dude who was an aspiring rapper. He was Big Gip. He got out of a rape. And
yeah,
that was
I remember
the
that.
beauty of Atlanta at that time. It was like the kick never stopped, man. It was amazing. And you saw everybody who you thought you wanted to meet, and they were there, and they would just walk past you like, "What up, dog?" And that was it.
Yeah, I mean, it was nothing to see T.I. or see Big Boy. We used to work at me and one of my good friends. We used to work at a Taco Bell, and Big Boy used to come by there all the time. So I mean, like it was nothing to see him in that area. They lived in that area. They stayed in that area. So when you think of Freaknik, they needed that. That was free promotion for them. That's what they were saying. Basically, they come and pass out tapes or CDs. Or whatever, and it was they put it in the car right then and there because
there was even a flyer. There was in all those flyers that they showed. It even said about the source. Like it was, I don't know if it was a new magazine that was. I don't know if they were.
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
it was.
Yeah. But yeah, they had a flyer in there as well. Like kind of like check us out.
Like my man Stacy, he keeps everything. Stacy, shout out to Stacy Bailey. Stacy got tapes the last time we was down there, man, and. Wow. And if his wife ever finds it, he got a lot of spending to do.
It's over.
Man.
It's over. All right, so 1983 is when it started. They gave the origin and the backstory. Obviously, they talked about Atlanta, talked about the amount of HBCUs that are there, which is nothing like going to a HBCU. Now, the facilities are not always going to be the greatest, but it's the education that you get, the history that you get, and a lot of the the history and the legacy that's there. So the founders reunited, and that was interesting to see. They were in college in 1983. You can tell because they were a lot older in age. No hating on older folks, but they were older. But they were older. But they were kind of telling their story about, and it was supposed to be, or it started off as a picnic. It was Freaknik.
Yeah.
Golden, was you there? Golden?
She said,
"Get it, Golden. Get it, Golden."
She said she's a bad bitch for a bad bitch existed.
Hey, she said them golden grams was gone. Oh, sorry.
God, hey man, that is HRap's.
Hey man, it's all good. Man. We having fun, man. We all family right here. Man. Anthony,
I apologize.
What's up, Knox in the building? Thank you for tuning in. Hey, love seeing you on the show with D Great and Jungle Brother. Y'all doing. I love what y'all doing. Love tuning in when y'all go. Big up, you can say that.
Wow.
But it started off as a picnic, which I had no clue that's how it started off. And it was it was spring break. They had nothing to do, so they figured let's do a picnic. And we do picnics well. Okay, Black people do picnics well. That is one thing that we do very well.
Welcome home, Roscoe Jenkins. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt like that was a good backstory. Do you guys feel like the backstory was important, needed, or how did y'all feel? HRap?
I think it should have been a little more detailed because when you first go down there, like you go down there in 89, right? First go down there in 89, and that's the first spring break for me, and the guys we were kicking it, and it was almost exclusive because it was a fraternity thing. It was the Divine Nine down there running things, and it was amazing, and it was a beautiful situation. And that was the first time you awake. Well, for me, it's the first time without any supervision. I was away from the crib, and Craig, Toops, me and the homies, me and the homies. It was a beautiful situation. It was unlike anything I had ever seen in my life. And they were right. It was very peaceful. It was communal, and man, it was dope.
Yeah. Doc, thoughts on the backstory?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat, man. It's always fascinating how events like that become that huge, man, start, right? And what it does for me is, it just reminds me never let a small thought have to be a small thought, you know what I'm saying, or an afterthought, in fact, we've talked about it a couple of times before here on some ideas that we've had, that the sky's the limit. We can't see the possibilities, right? We talked about being blessed at the beginning of the show. Well, as a result, the power we have to do what we want to do, it exists, right? And I think this is an example of that. It's just the power of the thought, the power of the mind, and this just originated with just the thought, and it really was the precipice of changing an entire city.
Facts.
Period. I mean, entire city. I mean, they talked about Atlanta like it was a damn near a cow town or a little country town, before then. And guess what? I bet people like Wilkes in their age group, they probably think Atlanta's always been this popping city, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I wouldn't, because in their time, in their lifespan, it has been. But come to find out, shit, Freaknik is one of the biggest reasons why it was put on the map.
Oh, absolutely. Not the Olympics. It was.
I personally, I don't know. Now they come on up and they talk about 2 billion versus 15 million. When the Olympics versus Freaknik, with the Olympics bringing the 2 billion. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't know that you'd have even been on the books for consideration for the Olympics. Freaknik have not been there before, bringing that.
In one of the Super Bowls, where the Cowboys had a Super Bowl there, right? Okay.
That was when they built the new. I don't know if they had one in the old stadium, but they did have one in the new one.
So it was one of those things where it was just like, like to Doc's point. When I saw that they were doing a documentary on this, I expected it to pick up in the 90s at like 95, 96. And it was all about Uncle Luke. I thought it was his. Hell, I thought it was his thing. I thought he was hosting it, putting it on. So it's like I didn't know much about that, because it was word of mouth. It was going around high school. People were talking about it. People were talking about the Kappa. But to watch that they had a backstory well before the 90s, I was like, oh, well, damn. I guess I didn't know much about it. I didn't know much about that. Never really heard about it, because like I said, to me, when I was in high school, it was picking up for me, even though they say 94, I guess in the documentary, but for me, it was like, oh, 96 is going down. People talking about Atlanta, and that's what, and like Doc said, I thought, oh, well, why not Atlanta? I guess that's just to happen. That's the place to be right now. That's the place. I didn't realize that music hadn't. Oh, I guess you could. I mean, you had So Def, I guess, that was in LaFace, but it was just one of those things where, when I thought Freaknik, I was thinking, okay, 96, boom, man, Atlanta is the spot. That was it. I didn't realize that it had such backstory like it did.
Yeah. And being from California, when somebody, a class ahead of you and they go to college and they say they're going to Morehouse or Clark, I mean, you kind of like the story when it came back from summer break, the stories that they would tell you was like, yeah, we definitely got to go there. So there was already, the buzz was building, probably throughout my entire high school year. And then you kind of put, when you get as a senior, you kind of put 2 and 2 together and you realize, all right, this is something that would be dope to be a part of.
Right.
So and necessity is the mother of invention, right? And so remember, one of the things they talked about was, it was because kids couldn't afford to go back home during spring break and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they're like, we already here, y'all. Let's go and have a picnic.
Right.
We got to have a theme of the picnic.
Right.
Somebody said, let's make it freak, the freak thing. So everything, out, it's similar to 97.1, the Freak that's out now. It's a new radio station. It's only about 2 years old, right? With the old gray wolf on it, one of the legends, a Texas Radio Hall of Famer, and Mike Reiner. One of the biggest, that's his second radio station to really be on the regular, right?
And he built the ticket, right? He was there from the beginning.
It's his brainchild. So and everything they do is a freak, the freak this, freak that, freak that, whatever. So all of the little segments and parties or whatever they had some sort of freak theme to it,
Right.
But it just started out as being a picnic, when some of the first years, that's all it was a big black picnic, black.
Right.
You saw them, barbecuing chicken on the grills at the park, and that's what it was,
With no raisins in the potato salad and all that.
No raisin in sight.
No raisins allowed.
The only raisins that were around were attached to some breasts.
Oh my God. I'm glad, let me just say this. Make it a fit. And I'm an engaged individual. You're an individual that has been married a long time, so you can afford to say dumb shit still. I can't really say all the dumb shit I used to say, so I'm okay. That area over.
Blink twice if you're being watched right now.
I got you covered. I got you covered.
I like to keep the plans that I have.
So I guess
I know the plans I have for you, but if you say some dumb shit, they'll be over quick, nigga.
Over.
Well, I guess I'm not invited to the next hangout.
You coming? You coming? Ain't like that.
Sorry.
I would like to change the narrative though. That's Atlanta for a long time has been popping, even before Freaknik. Think about it, man. You got the house there, you got Spellman, you got Morris Brown, you down the street from Alabama State, you got the Yard, North Carolina Central, right up here, an hour and a half away. It was the same, and Ben is familiar with the same. It's only one HBCU. We just on different campuses. You heard that, right, Ben?
Yeah.
So Atlanta, think about it, man.
But not worldwide popping though. Popping in a certain culture, but it wasn't popping worldwide.
I'm talking about for our culture. I'm talking about just for the black community.
A portion of it.
No, think about it, man. You got Dr. King down there. You got Williams down there. Hosea Williams down there. You got
Jose. Can you see?
Good Trouble. This was the spot. And then like the popping restaurants, like I know, like never knew Ben at that point. But how many times a week did you go to Jamal's, Ben?
Often.
Yeah. So it was the joint for us. It was always like they call it the Black Mecca. At one point it was DC. Then in the 80s it migrated down there because then you got to realize DC only a couple hours up the road. This is the spot for black folks. It just the emerging of hip hop culture brought it on TV. It was just the best kept secret in America because
the hip hop, the Atlanta hip hop was a perfect rise with Freaknik, and it kind of just really came together, which they talked about. So Def became what they were, Outkast and the Dungeon Family became what they were, and then you had Eric Sermon. I didn't even know he was there. He said he had a rim shop, and they didn't really sell rims in there. But
he's not the order.
Well, see, that's what I think. The tail end of HRap's point was it's the best kept secret, and that's my point. Is that it may have been popping, but it wasn't popping. It wasn't a thing for Texans. We weren't thinking about, let's go to Atlanta for, whenever we getting out of town. I didn't hear folks start talking about that, until, much later, So, like I said, I don't doubt the history of Atlanta. We know that Atlanta at the end of the day is this great, like I said, it may be the original chocolate city if you really boil down to it, as opposed to DC. I think some argue that, but the difference between, and I think the money says it, right? 15 million to 2 billion. I don't think it was a crossover, to where the entire world knew of Atlanta and the power of it,
And I just want to kind of go back to Dawk's point and HRap's point as far as I guess Atlanta always been popping in certain settings, I guess, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean,
So Keisha with
I
the
always felt like Atlanta was also
alley photo, like,
the mecca for the civil
That's
rights
right.
movement.
Keisha, right
I feel
out
like
here.
I always, descended on Atlanta for that. Like, Ebenezer Baptist Church was there.
Yeah.
You had everything else going on. So I always felt like Atlanta was definitely, I want to kind of walk that back, saying like, oh, well, Atlanta must always, of course it was, because I feel like it was the center of a lightning rod for the civil rights movement. So because you're right there with Alabama, you're right there with Washington, you're right there with Mississippi, and so you're just in those areas that a hotbed. And then what was it, Tennessee, that had the the strike, the trash men went on. There was a strike there with that, so it was sanitation. So it was just like
campaign.
Yeah, so I take that back from like, but Freaknik, I think just added
It made
more.
it made it an entertainment, more of an entertainment type destination.
Right.
And one thing,
it was a place to get things done from a Black community standpoint.
Right.
It became a place
civil rights.
Yeah.
And like Killer Mike said, every era there was a party or something just for the people to have fun, and this was that. And I drew a parallel to Woodstock. I know it wasn't necessarily a concert, but if you think of the era of the 90s, I mean, you think of Freaknik. I don't think of any other concert or any other thing that was going on during that time. So I think that was kind of like the era of the 90s. That was the thing.
Right.
Now they said they had what was it? The one in Florida that they were talking about, which was more of what the other races went to.
But I know we'll get
Daytona, Fort Walton, even Galveston. They mentioned where because that was the thing, and they mentioned this because when Freaknik turned into a more aggressive,
the freaking freak,
trying to fill on her, and stuff like that. They was like, well, y'all ain't giving them no problem in Florida, and when they doing Daytona and Fort Walton Beach and Destin and all those places, they wouldn't get no issues. Y'all ain't trying to shut them down. Quit trying to shut us down,
Right. And so the freak in Freaknik came from the song La Freak, which I didn't think that either. I just thought it was
the other kind of freak. Talking about that,
yeah. So he said, "What'd you say about?"
I didn't. Somebody called you right eye, and I don't know who did. Freak out.
I've been saying Miss Walker, but it say Miss Hale right there. So
hell yeah.
Depending on info you look up on the net.
He's talking about DC versus.
Sorry.
Yeah. But let me just say this though. You asked that question today. You may be in that may be a debate, Jordan versus
LeBron.
Yeah, you might be in a squabble on that one.
The Chocolate City today is Atlanta or DC, now DC, of course, they're gonna have a origin claims to it, but shit.
Shout out to Go-Go.
Yeah. Hey, backstory. I didn't know Go-Go existed. My roommate was from Maryland, and they was wearing like stretch, like aerobic socks, and I'm like, what is with y'all? Then they playing Go-Go. I didn't know what it was.
Before we move too far off the word backstory, now the backstory Atlanta is known for is the LGBT community backstory.
Blowing backs out since. Well, I'm sorry. I apologize. I know y'all trying to submit this deal with Roku. I'm so sorry. I really apologize. I apologize.
You're supposed to do my Kawhi Leonard laugh on that, baby. That's right.
Hey, I just do what the crowd say. But the studio audience won't.
Shout out to Earthquake, basically, because I just went into my Earthquake voice. So shout out to you, sir.
My bad, Roku. My bad.
These ain't jokes.
Ain't jokes, always strokes. Oh, sorry.
when HRap go like this, it's,
Yeah, I've succeeded.
Yeah.
That's my mission.
now I think one of the people I was not expecting at all to be in this was Jalen Rose.
Yeah.
Because he talked about
Yeah.
him driving
You went to
from Michigan.
Trump?
Man, that's what I'm telling
I was
y'all,
surprised.
man. It's the deal. Shaka said it, man.
Driving from Michigan from a car he won from a dice game, a Honda Accord, or was it a Civic? One or the
Camry.
other.
I think it's the Camry. It was a
Right.
Camry.
Okay,
Nice.
wasn't a lot of
It
space
was
in
the
there.
40th anniversary Camry edition.
Wow.
Hey,
So
It
that'd be
looked like
Carry out, man.
trash in today's time. But anyway.
I ain't gonna say no names, even though the statute of limitation is up. I know some cats
Wow.
who used to go to car dealerships and write $3,000 deposit checks, drive free, and come back free. No, I don't want to buy. I'm telling you, the kid was real, man.
That's a free rental. Back then, yeah.
Yeah,
Free-
that's all it was. Gas. What you need.
But yeah, was y'all surprised to see Jalen Rose?
Mhm.
I was initially, yeah.
I was surprised.
He seemed, it's like all the other people seemed like they went with it. And like,
Right.
you know,
He was kind of like left field. Like they
I'm glad they did, right? You know, because he was not a music guy. He was not, and the way he participated was from a participant standpoint, like a fan, you know. So I'm glad they did. I'm just not the biggest Jalen Rose fan in the world. That's why I be giving him a little hard time.
He seems a little weirdo.
Tell him why you mad, son. Tell him why you mad. Why you don't like Jalen Rose?
I don't know. You know, same reason. I don't care. It don't matter. Yeah. He ain't did nothing to me.
Like I
Just because
he left-handed.
Yeah, some people just,
why I
you
like
know, it's one, you know, my favorite dude. That's all.
But he talked about driving down there. I do want to say rest in peace to Rico Wade. He was on here. He just passed away.
Is he related to Rico
news.
Suave?
No, nigga, no.
Rico cheese.
No. I'm going to play that. But and then also Clay Evans, which he was with T.I. on Grand Hustle. He was interviewed in this too. Two of them passed away, I think, shortly after this came out. So rest in peace. But
That's what get Shaka's comment on there about
depending on info from the net, it's a continuation from the previous. DC was chocolate city until 2015. Despite this info, although population within 70s to 2015, DC has the edge popularity among our culture. ATL took title from DC. Maybe it's 1A and 1B. Maybe
even in the song Chocolate City, George Clinton even said Atlanta was going to be the next chocolate city. I mean, that's 75.
And they talked about, I think on this, they talked about how artists used to come here. Like this was their favorite spot to come. I don't know. I think they
here.
That.
You in Atlanta right now? What you used to come where?
There. I mean, there.
You went to this house, didn't you?
You at Magic City? What's going on?
I've been there. Yeah.
No.
I rest my case.
Also, the one down the street from Morehouse.
Oh, yo,
they had bullet holes and
buddy,
and cigarette burns and
they known for because they known for the lemon pepper.
Lemon Pepper Lou.
Yeah,
that's the best wings in Atlanta. Is that
at the city, boy? It was
all flats.
Epic.
All right, so 1993, so 10 years later, Luke gets involved. I guess it sound like he went there and kind of seen, all right, this is an opportunity, and this rised his stardom even more. But he definitely
hold on a sec. You went to Morehouse, you said?
What? Yeah, I said rised his stardom.
Huh?
Stardom.
It risen his stardom. What it did? What? Is it rise or rose or rose? Pick something there. You can't combine both terms.
However I come out.
Pick a lane there.
They got an urban dictionary. Whatever I come out.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you, man.
But so they didn't
And I'm
What?
getting text telling you what it is. They said Rose, fool.
Hey, say that in the comments. Say that in the comments.
I love it.
Hey, the people that's in the background, come to the comment section so we can see. Saw my man out, dog.
The intellect from
What's going on?
Butler about 48, ain't he? Butler 48.
That's a good question.
Yeah, he write it because his terminology.
Yeah, I ain't heard it all about since.
He right with us. No, he right with us. I think maybe just to touch him, right with us. Yeah.
All right, so Luke sitting down with Jermaine Dupri. I feel like that was a good part of this. It did seem like they were trying to figure out how they were going to do it because it was like silence for a minute.
Yeah,
Luke
felt like
I guess one of us should talk. So that was a little awkward for a minute. But give me your thoughts on Luke and him being a part of this talk.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's what you like. Wilkes even said he thought Freaknik was Luke in 2 Live.
Me too.
Obviously, it went to another level. It changed. That's where they according to the way they played the documentary out, that's where the Freaknik went from picnic to the freak. That's where went from the Nick to the freak. That was a transition because of him, and that's why of course Wilkes sees it the way he sees it because it just changed the entire dynamics. Now, I will still say that the initial Luke part of it was still the I'm not saying clean in terms of the sexuality part. I mean clean in terms of the guys weren't doing anything that wasn't warranted or
overly aggressive,
and got to the rape part of it and all that other kind of stuff yet. When the Luke first came, it was just the friendly freak, so to speak. Your neighborhood freak, you know what I'm saying? Not to
I ain't never heard that term. Friendly, you said a friendly freak.
Neighborhood freaks was still out there, you know what I'm saying?
He just touch you over the shirt, not under the shirt.
Goes to church Sunday morning. It's kind of freak,
In other words, dry humping freaks without taking all the clothes off.
But considering who Luke is and who Jermaine Dupri is and how big Jermaine Dupri is, and for the first thing I noticed was Luke saying, "Man, I ain't never been in the studio," whatever, because Jermaine Dupri's studio is pretty popping one, so you'd think some sort of collab or something,
Right. Yeah, you would have thought. I mean, at some point in time, I mean, over the past 20 years, they had something, but yeah.
2 different lanes.
I get it, but you collabing with country folks and you follow what I'm saying? There's all kind of collabs out there. Shit. Santana and
Wyclef.
Yeah, it's all kind of
but see, like during this time,
hashtag friendly freak.
We wasn't intersecting. Again, this is one of the things I appreciated the most. The day I got
you had shit. I had 4 kids already by then. I was intersecting my ass.
I mean, but we weren't really doing it though, man. I mean, we was standing out like we was side lane, y'all over there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right about that though, HRap. And plus, that may speak to why Jermaine Dupri, because part of it, I think it was my fiance who said, "I ain't never heard Jermaine Dupri in no dirt." You follow me? So that may be part of it. That may have been the reason why he stayed in his lane like that.
Yeah.
But he was younger. He was younger when he started too.
That's right. That's
so
true.
He probably couldn't
he wasn't even allowed
really
to do a lot of the stuff he said. They was
right. Exactly. He said I wasn't even allowed that Freaknik. So
yeah. See, the thing is with Luke. See, Luke, they need to do a documentary for real on Luke because Luke is known for lewd behavior, right?
Yeah.
But Luke, if you look at the outside of defending hip hop culture, Luke has never been in trouble.
Yeah, true.
Everybody getting taken down right now. You haven't heard one.
Yeah, you're right about that.
And dude, Luke is this important to hip hop, and I know that we're talking Freaknik, but I'm gonna talk about Luke for 10 seconds.
Nah, go ahead.
Luke Campbell. Everybody who uses profanity or says anything sexual in hip hop, every $10 they make $1 need to go to Luke. Luther Campbell went to jail for hip hop. Luther Campbell went to the Supreme Court for hip hop. If it was like everybody, hip hop Mount Rushmore, Luther Campbell needs to be George Washington.
I give you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw Luther Campbell in Chicago bring peace to a gang-infested area.
I believe it.
Yeah. And
He
you're
probably
right.
made it okay for black people to be in porn in the 90s. I mean,
I didn't think about that.
am I wrong?
black-
I mean,
Oh, yeah. I thought you said important. You said important.
no, in porn. Because most of those videos, if you had them, and you had them, they were themed parties. They were hangouts.
Well, not
I ain't had
fun.
shit.
What?
I ain't had shit.
Nigga, you lying. Anyway, most of them were indeed centered around Two Live Crew. That's what it was.
What's up, Mika? She said 2 totally different lanes for sure. Jermaine Dupri was clean and ran his artist in a different way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But he did have some songs early on that was in that lane though, but they just weren't as popular.
Yeah.
This is, think about it, man. This is TLC Crisscross, Brett, Jermaine Dupri. That's later. This is that time. That's what I'm saying. Jermaine Dupri might hit you a little because they got paper. But and Jermaine Dupri lying, I've seen him in some clubs, so he a lie. I saw you, Jermaine, but I ain't gonna trick on you, but I picked on you. But hey, he was the man.
He was just so short you couldn't tell if he was there.
He's a dwarf.
Is him and Janet Jackson still boyfriend, girlfriend?
Nah, that's why I can say his name freely.
Occasionally.
Because I used to hate him.
Me too, HRap.
I've hated that man for a long time. Every time I thought of the principal video, I'm like, whoop.
Hey, they was friendly freaks, so it was just over the clothes.
Somebody was paying somebody, man. Stop.
So one of the main things they talked about, and they interviewed a lot of different people, but it was talking about black women being free, being able to do, what they wanted. And this was, again, like Dawk said, before it got to the more aggressive. But and women, they were being interviewed saying like, look, we controlling what we want to do. We're not allowing men to tell us. So it was definitely a
liberation kind of
liberation.
thing.
Exactly. And in that area with all the colleges, with every people coming, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you started having grown men, like 40-year-olds, like the dude with it was like, yeah, man, I'm having the best time of my life. Don't tell my wife I'm here. I hope my kids don't see me. Like, bro, you need that at home, man. You need to be
down there in ad shopping. Jokes was down there in 92.
This dude was requesting time off so he can go to.
Man,
I need a week off. I gotta go out of town for a little while.
Right.
Look at you too.
You see fools on the road, man. You look over, it's a car full of cats.
You know where they're going. You know where they're headed.
You know where we're going.
Hey, I agree with you right here. Butler, you said, man, Jermaine was doing his thing too. He just kept it hush hush. He was in the industry, had access, etc. He has even stated as much in interviews. Yeah, he just wasn't. You just don't hear a lot about it. But I mean, obviously he was there. I don't know if he's ever been married. So
2 years younger than me.
Saying Jermaine Dupri is?
He's only 2 years younger than me.
Oh,
he's 52. He'll be 52. He'll be 52 this year.
Now let's talk about the cars in this. What they said, it became car shows, and that Suzuki and which ended up becoming the tracker and all the the different cars and that's what we do. We can show off what we ride.
Hell, they had a few box Chevys in there.
Yeah,
Malibus.
Right.
Plenty Malibu.
Malibu was very big. You throwing rims on, and they, of course,
78 Malibu was a beast. Insane. That Cutlass was a beast.
Yeah.
Oh, the SS Impala too by that time.
Oh yeah, that long Impala.
Yeah, like the
boat. You get about 9 cats in there.
Right.
The
plush seats. Like, come on, man.
They call it riding the trunk and wouldn't even be uncomfortable.
Right. Big as that trunk was.
Yeah, man. You got a snack tray in there. You got an AC in that trunk, man. You good. Hey,
that was like I said, the at the Suzuki Samurai or the Sidekick. He had so many different names, but
Yeah.
And then later, when I think Chevy got a hold of it, it was the Tracker. Yeah, just because you can take the top off on the back, got the windows down. Oh, that was perfect. Definitely.
Man, they had some minivans there, some Luminas, some
Lumina was huge. Camrys in there,
sitting off, the back with the legs hanging off. Man, it was however how you got there was how you got there.
Got the Honda Accord with the flip lights. Come on, man. What?
Yeah.
What? Come on, with the wood grain. Oh man, come on.
No, when a wood grain, you had to have some paper out of wood grain.
Yeah.
We used to go for that. You just had.
Nah, it was a few of them down there. It was a few of them.
Yeah. Nika, this for you. Beans just said, ever how you get there. Now, I don't know who he related to, how old he is. But anybody who say ever how.
Hey.
I'm coming up.
Thank you, Will.
On the rough side.
Yeah, son, is how you get there. I don't know.
Man. Woo.
Can't take it, man.
Hey, put the talk about the cars, Doc. You was gonna add on to that.
Yeah, I was actually trying to find because one of my company cars, from a promotional standpoint, is a Geo Tracker.
Yeah.
Back then, there's a Samurai, the Tracker. Them was just that was the first cars we could afford,
right,
on a mass basis that we can drop the top on and stuff like that. When we was able to start dropping the top on the choker, heck, I don't know if y'all remember seeing I think it was the TLC documentary where they talked about when they got their Suzuki Samurais, them was like Maybachs to them, back.
Oh yeah, pull that back off. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
What?
And I can't tell you how much pub we get, how many eyes turn when we drive that Tracker down the road, how many people are looking at it,
It was.
So I'll try to find a picture of it being posted on the
hey, I got it right here. I'm about to
you got the Tracker? Okay.
Yeah, because it bounced around from so many different manufacturers.
Yeah,
there you go right there.
Man, A1 right there, baby. A1.
Back, so when the grandkids was in town, I dropped the top on it and took them just riding around the city.
With the
and look, let me put it to you like this. Somebody stopped me at the light and I told them, I said, they don't understand. They have just been transported back to the 90s. And when I say they were hanging out of the Tracker, they was camped in there like we were in the 90s. Like their mentality immediately went somewhere that they didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? They like took them somewhere. So this was the first time they started talking about rims and rim shop and all that other kind of stuff. All this stuff, again, I'm not saying we didn't have vehicles with rims and stuff like that, right? Because you can cross 110th Street, and them boy, they had, the diamond in the back, all that, you had them, but this took it to another level because now you got a place to show your ride off at, so now, the gold trues and Vogue that they showed in the BBSs and the all that, because again, back in the day, Krager's was popping, but for us, community, it took it to another level. He was like, now it's like rims is like not having a new pair of shoes. Your ride got to have clean rims on it.
Rims got to have them, and like he said, anything with a sunroof or a complete remove top. Oh gosh, even the square.
Hey, I'm glad I've helped you enjoy that box line tonight, Mika.
Oh gosh.
What's the Dims?
Man.
Dim. Maybe.
What?
Well, Dawk be saying Dim some good stuff.
Dim some good stuff.
All right, so 94 was probably the peak. 95, 96 came around, and the Olympics was coming, or they were Olympics was coming in a couple months, and basically they had to clean the city up, and they didn't. It was money coming, but it wasn't money that they could get their hands on. It wasn't money that they could put in their pockets, and that
Like
was the
CeeLo
reason
said,
why.
it was big bank take a little bank.
Exactly. And the Olympics over Freaknik every day, all day. They're not gonna.
Right.
Nah, they're not
I
gonna
mean,
put
Again,
Freaknik over.
like I said earlier in the
Olympics?
show, it's 15 million to the
Right.
city versus
Right.
2 billion.
Right.
It's never
Yeah.
gonna
I
be
mean,
an investment, you know.
right.
So man, I'm gonna tell you, it was sickening just seeing how the chief of police was walking through there and stuff like that. Well, you knew in her mind, she knew she was
Yeah.
like,
Thank
I
you,
gotta,
Pastor Dodd. Thank you. I appreciate
Right.
it.
gotta do this.
Appreciate you very much.
I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Follow the money. So,
Yeah.
but I think they did them dirty though. The way they was shutting
Of course they did.
highways off, closing it.
Yeah. SWAT team.
They put it to a point to where you couldn't even exit downtown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They
Close. I
running
mean,
the traffic to the other side of town,
It was like 80 and 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, they working on it. It's like 6:35 for the past 20 years. Almost been here 20 years, and they've been working on 6:35. No, we not.
You don't like it, you can take your black ass on then.
All right, Ari could be driving it. They still could be working on 6:35. Anyway. Sorry. But a lot of them said Olympics wasn't great for Freaknik. The money shut down. And I think 99 was 98. That's when it became, to Dawk's point, the attacks and the rapes and the things going on. Now, the flip side of this, was it happening every split second, every minute? No. But the times that it happened, the best way to shut something down is to put it on the news and put it out there. Right. And everybody says, okay, we got to stop doing this. And that's, what happened.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No
Anybody
doubt.
want to add anything?
Yeah. So check it out, man. The Olympics coming, so they having to shut it down. That's what created some of the tension, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they shutting down the highways, they rerouting code, they basically stifled their fund. So what happened was, before, their fund was free. They were able to just do what they wanted to do, wasn't anybody bothering. So when you start
go where they wanted,
it's like putting pressure on something. So when you put pressure, then when it finally lets out, it's going to explode, right? So that's basically what took place. And they said they felt it. They felt the tension. The tensions were high, and so, I think that's what happened, is the reason why the turn. HRap, you say you were going to say something?
Oh, no, I was a parent twice by this time. Bria was born in December 1997. I left Freaknik in the fall. That was the last year I was there. I was like, and I pressed it then because I was a parent a year. So me and my crew, we just kicked it other places. But
yeah.
I couldn't even imagine going.
No,
29
I mean, pretty much everything had been said, but really.
Yeah. All right. So 2018, someone bought the rights to the name and called it the Freaknik Festival. A lot of the people that were there when it started did not agree. They didn't think it was, you can buy a name to something, but you don't have the groundwork, the backstory. You don't have all the time that was put in and what it became. So I don't know if that's still going on or not. But the guy was very cocky. Like, yeah, I am the founder. Like, you're not the founder. You're the founder of this festival, but you're not the founder of Freaknik. But he seemed very like, this mine's now, and we gonna make it something for the city.
I just want to go back real quick though. It's like they were making. I know this is different from a kind of a rebirth of Freaknik, but you literally had, and it's kind of like piggybacking off of what Dawk was saying. Like when the police chief was walking through, you literally had Girls Gone Wild that was making money.
Right.
Come on.
Off of, Girls Gone Wild turned into a business.
This was before Girls Gone Wild.
That's a good perspective.
They even had like a beach edition where they were in like Miami and these coastal areas. But then when Freaknik is happening, no, we got to shut it down. We got to clean it up. You don't think the women weren't being violated at Girls Gone Wild? I mean, what?
There's a document on that.
perspective, man.
a documentary that tells all the dark sides of that whole thing.
That's what I'm saying. You making money on cashed in on that, but Freaknik, oh no, we gotta the deal, we gotta shut that down. We can't have that. So kind of just going back to that. So like the 2018, since they picked it up and they tried to revamp it, I don't know if it's still going, but that's when, like I said, when T-Pain, they had like something on Cartoon Network where it was like a cartoon, the spirit of Freaknik or something. But I was like, oh, they doing a cartoon about it, but then they tried to bring it back. But like Dawk was mentioning earlier about South by Southwest, then they try to turn it into like now they're trying to control it by making it a festival and putting it in one controlled area. You've got stages, you got guests, however many nights. But it was just one of those things where it's like now we're gonna try to go back to the 80s version. At least they didn't have bands or anything, but now we're trying to go back to the 80s versions of the setting where it was bringing everybody together in one spot.
Yeah. And it it might, the documentary might even help it pick up some steam, to where it may be a big event, but it'll never be an event like what it was.
Right.
And here's what it is now. This is the Freaknik Festival 420. Killer Mike's gonna be there, so they have definitely changed it. I don't think it's as popular because it doesn't have the
and they pushing the weed too.
Oh, it's pushing the weed with it, and it's coming pretty quick.
Yeah. And I mean, Killer Mike coming off of just winning a Grammy, and it's supposed to be 2 nights. I think it's like the 19th and the 20th. So
you scroll a little too fast.
Yeah. There you go.
Scrolling. You got the scroll set on 8. You're going too fast.
Put that down a little bit.
The Freaknik reunion is interesting. So maybe a bunch of old motherfuckers.
Oh, of course. Yes, absolutely. 100%, Mr. Butler.
But one point I want to bring about this before we get too far along is what they talked about that you really didn't know, but they talked about the fashion, the culture, the food, the music, hair. And the hair of it, which I guess you could put in the fashion. I thought that was very interesting at how that impacted our culture, right? As a whole, because you start seeing the hairstyles and start seeing who's got popular and that using the gel and the hard hair back then and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this was pre-weave days, right? So
Simpson joints, man. That was all weave.
Well, it wasn't like it was though. It wasn't. I mean, now, it's like the ratio weave to hair ratio back then was 8 hair to 2 weaves. Now it's 2 hair to 8 weave. Hey.
Right. It cost you about 500.
Yeah. We didn't even know what weave wasn't even a term to us back then. Hey, I didn't know what no weave was back then.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull some photos up so y'all keep talking.
All right,
put that red tail up. Man.
So of course, another thing they pointed out is they talked about when Freaknik started, it was a youth event, right? So even the language, they were like, one of the reasons they left them alone because the youth language versus the adult language was just so different. Like they weren't hip to what was going on the streets there. And what's funny about it, right, is when they left them alone, nobody complained about traffic, and stuff like that before. You know what I'm saying? Why they was leaving them alone? They didn't start complaining about traffic till the authorities got involved. And
exactly. They were like, man, we park a car and leave it. Catch a ride.
I mean, they was taking U-Haul van. They were renting a U-Haul to go down there, and they go sleep in the back of the U-Haul. Unless you hook up with somebody that's got a room.
Right.
No, we weren't doing that. I wasn't doing that.
And then they talked about Tupac being there. They talked about Biggie performing at one of them. They talked about a lot of the artists. Yeah. All right, here's a photo with the hair.
Yes,
man, that's it.
Man,
right there,
the one on the left with the long rap.
That's it.
This is one with Tupac there. You can see that's the Martyr bus right there behind him. So that's Real. There's another one where they handing a camera.
Got the camcorder.
There's like two Mustangs right there. And
It's
then
5
this one
points.
here hanging off the back. I think
Hey,
that's
got
look
the
like a Range
SS
Rover.
Impala.
Yeah.
So
So
that's a Blazer, man. Ain't no Range Rovers back then, Jack.
Shut up, man.
it kind of looked like one from.
No,
Man, they
bro.
got the whole
Back.
camcorder out there.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't the small one. This is the
Yeah,
shoulder
yeah.
where
It's
you
like,
walking
oh,
around
man,
like
we out
this
here, baby.
with the full tape. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
can take
old
that tape
tape in
out.
that joint.
It was
Yeah.
good.
It's a lot of rotator cuff surgeries came off the end.
Oh man. Woof. Ain't get no hand job that night. Woof. Man.
Wow.
Man. What's wrong? What's the problem? I don't understand.
All right.
Nothing, man.
We said
damn
you
it.
can't regain the organic energy. That's it. The spirit of that
Real.
time. It was a
Yeah.
moment in
Oh.
time. Period.
Yeah, and we talked
A
about
big shoulder joint.
the authorities stepping in, redirecting traffic, and all that stuff when stuff got wild. But what we didn't talk about yet is the restaurants and hotels and denying service. You know, we full.
Yeah.
You know, you can't sit here.
Right.
No colors
Shit,
allowed.
Yeah, you know, they was shutting it down. No you can't, you know, we don't have room for reservations, whether it be hotels or restaurants, you know, no areas to seat, you know. But they were costing themselves a little money then in preparation.
The spritz and the black hair gel. Yeah, you can smell it from the photo. Yeah.
Yeah.
no doubt.
And kind of one of the moments that what they really kind of focused in on was a lady that they interviewed was involved in a situation. I don't even think she was. I think she was going out to a house party with one of her friends.
Yeah, she wasn't involved in
the Freaknik at all, and
Yeah.
she ended up getting her clothes ripped off, and you know that was kind of the thing that they really needed to say, okay,
Yeah.
this
It was sickening. It
was-
got to a point to where me and my fiance is looking at each other like this. It was sickening, and some of the stuff.
yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
really,
it's crazy.
and
And
like the dark side of it,
man. Yeah, it's sickening.
I mean, it's like she said, it took a guy to say police, and they scattered. And even then, she said some of them didn't
Now the cops got it.
even then, she said they didn't really scatter. They just kind of like, you know,
Right.
let up-
Just loosened up.
yeah, loosened up. Well,
Yeah.
never mind. But
You think of the trauma.
Showing maturity there, sir. Thank you so much, man.
I'm good.
Oh,
I got you. Don't worry. I went to the line. I didn't obliterate the line, as Dawk would say.
Dawk, no sir. I promise the city paid those businesses to deny services. It was a strategic move.
100%.
Yeah. I mean,
lot of-
if you isolate people, they don't have anywhere to go,
Right.
and the tension just flowed over. And I mean, it was gonna be a situation where the cops had to get involved. And when that happens, first thing they do is they put it on the news, and then it becomes outrage that you can't do this anymore. You know, this is bad for the city. You know, we got the Olympics, and you know, it was just a.
And I can't remember if it was Jermaine Dupri who said it on this documentary, but they were like, it was no GPSs. So if you start rerouting traffic, they don't know where to go.
You don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And it's dark. And in some parts of Atlanta,
Yeah.
you off in the cut somewhere. You don't know where you are.
If you can't read the map, you can't read a map score like I can, then you in trouble.
Those businesses were not going to take a full L on the bread, because they were winning for the most part. Yeah, and they realized that you guys, y'all doing your own thing. Y'all bringing your own food, or somebody selling the food somewhere else. So you're not patronizing our business. So we need that money, and the money, and y'all keeping the money within. So
I don't even know. Did they even talk about like what obviously they never showed any bad weather, but you imagine being hot in a car, sleeping, you can't get a hotel. I mean, oh man. You sleeping in the car? You done been there?
I bet Atlanta was the funkiest city in the country. It was some whole baths taking place in some restaurants, some bars.
Yeah,
the quick.
Yeah, man.
They didn't have no quick trips or no racetracks or no Lucky's back then either.
The get and go restrooms was
Nah, man, like Bernie Mac, man. It smell like Pudussy in there.
Yeah.
Wow. The Phillips 76ers or the 76ers or the Phillips 66ers was
Right. Can't come
Right.
in here, man. Yeah, you can't let your days in smelling like that.
All right. Final thoughts. Y'all ready to get the final thoughts? Y'all want to add anything else?
let me make sure. Yeah, I think that's it. You know, just the fact that I think this was the first Black spring break, you know, because it was
Mhm.
our spring
Exactly.
break.
Right.
And they mentioned a word that I thought was very key, and that was a pilgrimage. Because for a lot of folks, I mean, imagine these created lifetime memories for these folks because, like
Oh,
they were traveling from, you know,
They still talking about it to this day.
uh,
To this day.
You're welcome.
and early on, they talked. One of the things they gave Black people credit for back then, they said Black people had political power, but white folks had economic power. And I thought that was a fascinating, you know. And this was when everything was all good, all gravy, you know, and they kind of came together and made it work, you know.
And people just you stayed on their sides.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
Bill
together
Bill was in office
get
getting his
back to
money.
their respective corners, basically, is how they described it.
Right.
So okay, yeah, I'm ready for final thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, really, Freaknik kind of disrupted the normal flow of business in Atlanta, and had to go at some point.
Yeah, but they said, but you heard them talk about they were spending money though.
It just wasn't at their businesses.
Yeah, I mean, some of
selling
it,
shirts and
some of it had to trickle over, right? You know, it had to. It had to. Again, they saying they brought $15 million to the area over a weekend. You know, so you know that wasn't nothing to sneeze at back then. You know,
and think about it. A lot of people weren't using plastic. People had cash. They were paying cash.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how much cash flow is being presented? I mean, whether it be a convenience store or
there you go. That's a good point, Will. So we're talking about 15 million in money that's being able to be tracked. So yeah, it's probably far more than that, you know.
Right.
Was at
absolutely.
Because they had vendors, they had people coming from other states that would bring their shirts and bring whatever merchandise to sell.
You know, like you say, you pass out a tape. Now somebody 3, 5, 6, 7 cars are playing.
They talked about the marketing aspect for music industry.
Right. So imagine if Outkast wasn't able to capitalize on this. I mean, would they be where they are now?
That's right. Good question. Good point by Shaka, I believe. Let's see what he said.
When the city gets involved with festivals, that has grassroots beginnings. What used to be the way ain't the way anymore. Sponsorships help, exactly. But when you are dealing with government, city gonna get its way.
The city, when you're dealing with government, city gonna get its way. And you're right. Yeah, you're right.
And sponsors are the. I mean, there was plenty of different, festivals and events we was applying for credentials for, and then at the bottom they would have 10, 15 sponsors, and that's probably even more. Those are just the ones that paid to be on the site. So that has changed the grassroots. I mean, which you can still do, but normally you're a big music artist and you are hosting it. So, all right, final thoughts and mic rating. We're gonna go to okay. We're gonna go to HRap first.
It was good. It was dope. It was good to see a little bit of it. Brought up some great memories. Me and some of the homies talked about it recently. Great deal. Had a great time. I say I walked into it with a 3. It remains a 3.
Okay. We lost Wilkes. Hopefully get him back in a minute. You made it the whole show, so besides the last couple seconds. All right, Dawk.
Yeah, first I like to give at least one of your ratings from the other rating sites. So Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 83%. It looks like IMDb gave it a 4 out of 5, from what I can tell. So those are pretty high considering those sources, right?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
But I'm more in line with where HRap is. HRap, you said you started at a 3 and still at 3. And stayed at a 3.
Yeah, stayed at a 3. It was just solid,
That's about where I am. I teetered with going up to a 3.5 because of the cultural, stuff that I learned, with regard to, some of the things. But I think 3 is a fair deal. It wasn't great, and it wasn't like some of the other documentaries we've seen, because a documentary, we're not really necessarily talking about how it's shot and the artistic quality of it, right? We're talking about the information and how it made us feel, or how much we didn't know, or how all those kinds of things. So I don't think it really rose to the heights of some of the other documentaries we had seen. So I think a 3 is a really good place, for this one. That's not that ain't no shade to them. It's just it's average.
I got a little shade, but I ain't gonna diss them because I like the people who did.
Yeah. What's up, Chris? Thank you for tuning in,
sir.
All right, so
Magic Seed.
I started at a 3.5. I'm gonna keep it at a 3.5. I felt like it gave you the backstory. I think was the biggest part for me, and then to see the different artists that were there, and the cultural impact. Obviously, I knew it, but I didn't know to what degree and the amount of money that it brought in. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think that's fair. And Wilkes, final thoughts, and Mike Ray, you made it back.
Oh yes, I did.
Deep breaths.
Okay. Oh, real quick. I was at a 3, but even though I was surprised I saw the documentary. I mean, I was immediately transported back to being in high school because that's when I heard about it. Then the Kappa party. But like I said, I felt like I thought this was an Uncle Luke thing. I felt 2 Live Crew was putting this on. That's just how big it became, but it was way before that. And then he just kind of came in, and like he said, it was the perfect storm with college kids and sex and music and hip hop, whatever. So
you said 3, you said 3?
3, Mike. Yeah. So 3 mics for me. Oh, I enjoyed watching it. I'm curious if they did a Kappa, but Kappa's not big enough for. It's just not something that was.
Well, I mean, if we made something like that, it would have to come from us.
I enjoyed watching it. I learned a lot because, like I said, I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
So that you this?
Huh?
What's that? It's you?
Yeah, 3 mics. Yeah, 3 mics.
No, I'm talking about being the Kappa. I didn't know that.
Oh, being a Kappa? Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you said we.
No.
No, I'm saying like a black person would need to make a Kappa documentary.
Yeah.
It wouldn't come from MGM or.
I thought it was French talking about we. Yeah, that ain't.
Yeah, I thought you said you was Kappa.
Shaka gives it a 2.5. It was okay. I love the beginnings, but I enjoyed hearing stories from peeps growing up who went there. Yeah, I think that they're getting a personal account. I think was a good touch.
So our average is a 3 at the end of the day. Ben was the only one gave it anything more than a 3. So the average was a 3.
All right, I think that's fair. All right, what's coming up tomorrow on the end of the bench?
Yeah, the bench tomorrow probably piss off a lot of people. I'm gonna talk about this O.J. Simpson thing and the vitriol his death brought about. The sucker dudes who was celebrating his death, Bruce Jenner, Stephen A. Smith, and others, talk about the cultural impact of it. We talk about some of the people who just are. Why are you so invested in this murder? I mean, people get murdered every day.
Bruce Jenner ran somebody over. What the?
Right. You paid $800,000 and you got out of a murder case, what you want to do, and then you got people so wholly invested in this woman's death. Look, nobody should die before God says their turn. Nobody should take someone's life. We don't know what happened. It's 3 people who know if OJ did it or not. 2 of them dead, and he's dead now.
Right.
So people, I'm talk about that. I'm definitely gonna piss some people off, but hey, man, I'm Brian Williams. That's what I do.
I'm about to say, what else is new?
What else?
You gotta rough.
Yeah, that's why I gotta chill out, man. I know y'all trying to get that Roku deal, man. I'm trying to chill out, man.
And good looking out today. Will shot me some stuff that gave me, man. He pushed me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I gotta send this to HRap because that was insane. Like, whatever, man, crazy.
All right, Queen Theory and King tomorrow.
Yes. More motion, less emotions is our topic. Less emotion, more motion. So the kids nowadays is talking about that. That's one of the terms that they use, motion. Oh, she got some motion. He got some motion. Well, I'm talking about it in another way. So we have a tendency when we get emotional, when we in our feelings. You're in your feelings, fam. When you're in your feelings, you tend to become stagnant and stale. So we're gonna talk about less emotion and more emotion. Don't stay in that place. Shake it off. We'll have our special guest host, the one and only King 2.0, Andre Jones, 40-year radio veteran. He is my fill-in whenever I'm out, which may be coming pretty soon if the Dallas Stars playoff kicks off. So not sure how much coverage we'll be doing, but I'm sure we'll be doing some. So it ought to be a fun show. It'll be obviously a lot of laughs and stuff like that, but hopefully we'll come out of it with some meaningful information and maybe some encouraging information for when you feel, because you're going to have times where you get emotional. Our emotions were given to us for a reason, right? Well, let's discuss what those reasons are, and let's discuss, do they betray us? Do they shut us down?
All right. Make sure to tune in to the End of the Bench at 6 Central. The End of the Bench Media on Facebook and on YouTube. Then Queen 3 and King on the BS3 Network. Also Queen 3 and King on the YouTube. Make sure to tune in and check it out. Real quick before we go, shout out to our sponsor, Sheer Alternatives. They are a all-natural toothpaste mouthwash brand. Go to the website, sheeralternatives.com. Also, they are at the farmers market every Saturday and Sunday. You can go check them out, see them in person, get some of those products.
Which farmers market? Dallas?
Dallas, yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Do they ship?
They do ship. Yep. You go to their website, and I know the owner personally is definitely a stand-up guy and definitely want to see people healthy. So
yeah, I just got through with my I'm getting to the end of my jar. I'm having to take my toothpaste and squeeze.
Yeah, it's like about that time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy some of these products, man.
Yeah.
And they got some other stuff on there too. So they really try to bring your some healthy products, and it's made by us. For us, by us, FUBU of the dentist industry.
Who would have known that I was gonna be that dude? I'm eating vegan food and all natural toothpaste. I'd be damned. I done been come a long way from stealing honey buns and eating double fried steak.
God damn. That nigga walking the street.
All right, HRap.
Bless you, brother.
Go and close this out.
I'm gonna send out a shot for my crew. Greg, Aaron, Bill, Buff, Shed, rest in peace, Byron, Stacy, Tracy, a bunch of other cats that we used to be on the road trips with. Man, it was good. The 90s were good to me. And then with that being said, man, I want to let everybody know it's the middle of the month. And I don't have no more money. So owe you something. I ain't got it. And if you need it, you get it from Dawk. Swallow.
BS3 Network.
Don't
Changing the way
swallow.
you watch TV.
We puff